Trucking cases are treated differently from auto accident cases in that generally the injuries are much more catastrophic. We have to investigate multiple defendants, so it's not as simple as just holding the truck driver liable for his negligence. And there are a lot of other regulations that a truck driver has to comply with and that a trucking company has to comply with that go beyond what you'd come across in a regular auto accident case. Because remember, truck drivers are professional drivers.
So typically, the individual truck driver himself is not ultimately the one who's financially responsible. He may have caused the crash, but maybe he's tired because he had to drive and was forced to overdrive too long by his employer. There are a number of other issues to look at in terms of the trucking company: driver training, driver qualification, driver logbooks, supervision. Is he qualified to drive these big rigs? And those type of things. And it's a very specialized set of regulations and issues when it comes to dealing with trucking companies and trucking cases, and it's just not another car-to-car, vehicle-to-vehicle crash case.
Atlee Hall approaches trucking accident cases first by conducting extensive investigation into the crash. This involves obviously reconstructing the accident, looking at injuries, the various mechanics of the accident.
Thinking down the road, and that's where we come in to help to make sure that evidence preserved, so you have important pieces of the puzzle and information. And one of the first things that we always do is seek to gather or preserve evidence from the trucking company. We reach out to the trucking company immediately upon being contacted because we know there's critical evidence that needs to be preserved in the cab of that truck. A lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily think of that may be key information to be able to prove that maybe that driver was driving over hours and his logbooks aren't really accurate. The other part of it is accountability and responsibility, because oftentimes people come to us and they're badly injured and as badly injured as they are, or they have someone, their son or daughter was killed or their husband or wife was killed, yet they still say, what I want most out of this is I just don't want this to happen to anybody else.
A successful outcome for a trucking case, beyond compensation for a client, is holding the truck industry responsible for practices that cause collisions, letting these companies know that they will be held accountable when they don't follow the rules.